Hey guys, Zen here, and today I wanted to bring you guys 3 huge news updates for Rainbow Six Siege. Now, in my last video, we were shown the teaser for the upcoming rework to Hereford Base. As of today though, we finally have the official name and details for the next season coming to the game. So, of course, that's where our first update begins. Ubisoft officially revealed Operation Grim Sky. Taking a look at the release image, we see 2 brand new operators, one wielding an electric shield and the other with what clearly looks like a blowtorch. Now, Ubisoft does go a little more in depth with the details of these operators, giving us a small peek into who they are and what they're about. Ubisoft says, the first operator is a defender from Great Britain. She's a tough police officer who's an expert on mob behavior and snatch squad tactics. She knows she belongs on the front line and she won't tolerate any nonsense. Based on that information, I'm gonna theorize this will be the shield operator we're seeing here. A Reddit user on this post left a comment that I thought was extremely interesting and made a lot of sense, so I wanted to make sure to include that for you guys here. User Jonathan VN said, the leaked name was Hole Blocker. Maybe it works a little like this. She deploys her gadget in front of a reinforced wall or doorway. It gets blown open, so the gadget unfolds itself, or possibly shooting it will open it up in front of the hole so attackers can't come through it. But lastly, you can still shoot through the portions of it with the iron bars. Now, of course, this was just one user speculation as to how this gadget works, and for me, this makes a lot of sense. Also adding in the fact we may just be seeing a new hard breach operator with the blowtorch. If this is the case, we could be seeing another fundamental change to the meta akin to the introduction of Mira. I don't know if you guys were around for that, but when we first got Mira, everything about holding down an objective changed. If you're an attacker and you see that mirror, well, now you've got no choice but to deal with it to be able to really effectively push on site. If this is how this gadget works, assuming this user is accurate, Thermite and Hibana will have a lot more to worry about than just Mute and Bandit after they open up a wall. This user doesn't detail why the taser would be there, but I'd assume it's to prevent Thermite from just walking up and blowing the gadget up, and of course the same effect with Hibana. However, I am seeing a lot of discussion around the community claiming this is just a defensive version of Blitz, but instead of flash charges, she'll have a frontal taser. I don't want to rain on that idea, but that doesn't really explain the iron bars on the front. Unless there's some kind of bulletproof shielding in between, I don't really understand why that'd be the case for an operator reliant on that shield protecting her. There's a lot more that can be said about this operator and what she does, but for now, I just wanted to leave you with those few ideas. Of course, now we can discuss the new blowtorch operator we see in this image. Ubisoft says, the second operator is an American attacker, a specialist with a remarkably sharp mind when it comes to tactical operations. He has seen the worst in Kabul. Despite it all, he fell in love with the city. Legendary for his surgical precision, he remains an enigma within Rainbow Six. Now, I'm curious to know just how many of you have ever played the Wolfenstein games. In those games, Blazkowicz gets access to what's called a laser cutter, which throughout the game you use to cut open fences, weld through doors, and even later in the game you're able to use it as an extremely powerful weapon. The caveat to its extreme utility was that it took a good amount of time to cut through certain things, and also that you had to be really precise or else you weren't getting through whatever you were cutting. I'm thinking this operator functions in a very similar way. Most of the community seems to agree, but one thing I haven't heard of is the potential for multiple small holes to be opened up, making Swiss cheese out of reinforced walls. Currently, we have one big hole with Thermite, a potential 3 smaller window-like holes with Hibana, but no option for murder holes in reinforced walls. I'm thinking this is a little more straightforward of an operator at this point. At first, I thought it was a straight up flamethrower gadget to melt down a wall, but in describing him as precise, I have no doubt this guy is coming in to tattoo some reinforced walls with a blowtorch. So far, from what I can tell within the community, people seem very excited to learn more about these two. You guys have to realize that if what everyone is thinking is true, we have new hard breaching meta changers, and once they're here, this game will never be the same. But I'm curious which operator you're looking forward to more, so let me know in a comment down below. Our next update is something we've all been waiting for, which feels like an eternity, and that's the weapon misalignment issue. Ubisoft goes on to say, a few gameplay enhancements are also making their way into Operation Grim Sky. Following a lengthy test phase, we're bringing forth much anticipated modifications to address the weapon sight's misalignment. But that's not all. In our constant pursuit to improve the game and the player experience, an adjustment with the operator idle pick as well as dynamic resolution scaling for consoles are also on the way. For those new or unaware, a few months back, Ubisoft released some footage of how our bullets currently land relative to the marker on your sight. In that footage, most bullets landed slightly above or below the intended target, making it very difficult to be reliably accurate while aiming down sight. With this fix, bullets should now land exactly where your reticle is shown. Now, this fix shouldn't be confused with the recoil rework that was tested out a while back on a TTS. That will change the recoil for all guns in the game and make them more predictable. This is something we've all been asking for, and it's a great thing that we'll be seeing it with Operation Grim Sky. As for the console dynamic resolution, this will make it so that you console guys have a much smoother experience and help with a more consistent frame rate. Basically, what dynamic resolution does is lower your resolution in areas of the game that require a little more horsepower to prevent with frame rate dips and keep things feeling really smooth. It also helps with screen jitters and frame tearing. You have to remember that Ubisoft keeps building this game. It never stops getting bigger and becoming more complex, which means the technology improves, so they have to make sure the weakest of hardware can handle it. It's been a while, but back when I was on console, I don't really remember frame rate dips being a problem, so it's possible that with the addition of these new operators, it might be. Moving on to our last update, and it's actually a little more of a meme. Just check this out.
Run.
Can you believe it? Ash with Mira's Vector equipped with an ACOG. This was actually one of the game designers who tweeted this out, but it has since been removed. All I can say is that this will never happen, and this was nothing more than the devs playing with the engine, but we can all dream, and we can all meme. But that's everything, guys. Those are 3 huge updates for Rainbow Six Siege. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the new operators we saw in this video? How do you think they'll work? Do you think we'll ever see the day where Mira has an ACOG? Let me know everything in a comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen.
Hey, I'm out.